Could you hear me? This is your dad speaking. Can you hear me?
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's gonna make everybody better.
Tape never lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, cut it.
Keeping it 100.
He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man in Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the fake and anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now them out stuff like the true and now and latest. Debaters, straws get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks trolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names. We have 2 fucking games.
Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it
man.
100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, what is good, TTNL family? I am, such a gorgeous man. Anyway, it's Wednesday night. Hi, oh, that is also a gorgeous man. Hi, Jim.
As long as Cherie's happy, I'm happy.
You're putting up all these handsome men. Appreciate it, though. Anyways, Wednesday night. Of course, y'all, I'm as handsome, too, even when he be in the dirt. Really, Shane? You know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna bring you in. Acting like a big kid.
I'm not doing anything. That was not
Oh
me.
my gosh.
We're back.
This is the
Good to be
welcome I
back.
get back after you tried to fire me.
Yes. Cherie's been on temporary administrative leave. She told us that she was going to chart Caleb Williams' passes in OTA practices, so we fucking sat her down. Told her to grow the fuck up.
Let's chart Caleb Williams practice.
Yeah, I made. On May 21st of all days, you know, I mean, because that's important. The same guy, Arm, that wants him to throw more picks. Don't forget, throw more picks, please, Caleb.
Oh my God.
Come on, what are we doing?
It's an embarrassment, to be honest.
Terrible.
Anybody that's charting practice has some serious issues in May. Like even during training camp.
Bill, but under a whole new coaching staff. This is the first set of OTAs with the rookies and with everybody there. It's just you're trying to create a narrative. End of story. That is it. I just don't get your pathway when you're saying that just a few months ago, hey, I would much rather see him force the ball and turn the ball over. Take some risks.
Take some chances.
But here we go. Here we go again. Just like our thumbnail tonight. Pre-draft, why wouldn't you question this shitty ass franchise? But nobody's talking about I'm going to be here. I can do it for this. I can change things for this team. I'm going to go to Chicago. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the bullshit that doesn't matter. It's going to be a good show tonight because we're fired up already.
I just think as a father of a quarterback, you have a responsibility, even as just a father of a dad, but when you're in a position where you're that good and the Bears have been that bad, then the natural formation of what we're having as a family conversation is going to be concerned about the Chicago Bears. And by the way, it was proven correct because the same GM kept that shitty coach. Let's not forget that. This is a McCaskey issue. And all these guys that have never gotten in a stance before in their life and have never played or been around or coached or whatever in football, like in the chat comments or YouTube comments later, there is a real issue with the organization under the McCaskeys that have hired these soft religious coaches. Yes, I'm being controversial there seems to be a pattern here, and it's under the umbrella of the McCaskeys. And when I bring up the swearing and hard knocks and being around them with the great Jim Larison and having that opportunity with Don and his amazing wife, Rebecca, I just checked boxes of verification. I've been around snobs that are very wealthy. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they act the same way. They're very territorial for no reason at all, and they're completely in an arrogance that should never be invaded into football decisions. When you're the grandson of the guy that created the NFL and you have 0.0 football acumen, that in and above itself is a problem. But now you're going to control the media. Now you're going to control the narrative. Now you're not going to allow hard knocks. Now you're not going to allow big personalities. Now you're not going to draft a certain type of player. Now you're not going to fire Ted Phillips. He's been so loyal, even though he's fucked you many times over. Do you see the pattern? We're going to keep this coach too long. We're going to fire our coach the year after we draft a rookie quarterback every year, every time.
Did it with Mitch. Phil, they did it with Rex Grossman.
The
last 4 first-round draft picks at quarterback that they've taken, they've followed the same goddamn blueprint every time.
All under one umbrella, the McCaskey umbrella. Now, George, you pretend to like fans. You put on a facade just like you pretend to like me. It's okay. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire because I know where the problem starts. It's like a garbage truck dumping shit into the water. Where's the problem? Is the problem the water? No, it's the guy dumping the shit. That's the problem. And McCaskey's made that decision privately to continue on this journey. Ryan Poles should have not been the GM. Oh, it's too bad. You feel it is. We'll be firing Ryan Poles at some point. Just 100%.
Oh, he's going before the coach. You can bet your
100%.
ass on that.
100%. Now, I do have some hope for Ben because I don't see him in the same structure, Shane, of the past coaches.
No, you heard about it today, Phil, with him calling Cole Kmet out. That's what I said.
100%.
Did Cole call his
there
agent
crying.
and demand a trade?
Yeah,
know
that's a great text.
But that is what you need. Fluce walking around giving the nicknames and
sorry.
Listen, man, it's just what was the biggest change for Fluce last year? It was the fucking haircut and the beard. Had nothing. Right. I mean, look at that was a focus of Hard Knocks. That was a thing rather than the team. They were focused on shit like that. It's
and
crazy.
Simone Biles. They did
Simone Biles, Tyson Bajan's hair.
And all of that was bullshit. Did you read that story with Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles? Like that, the clip of Jonathan Owens sitting in his house watching Simone Biles. He was actually watching a replay. He already knew what was going on, but it was all bullshit.
Right.
That was all played out.
Ironically, those two were at the Cubs game the other day, which was kind of crazy. I was like, "What the fuck? I was like, aren't you still on the team, dog? Or like, what's going on?"
Evan, I'm with you. I was going to address this later. This falls under the umbrella of what I'm talking about with the McCaskies. I'm embarrassed that the Chicago Bears franchise voted against the tush push. Yeah. You know what? Fucking stop it. Stop. I'm cutting Monin guy's fucking tape. You know how many times Rutgers ran the tush push? At least 50. It's all over. It's football. Stop. You're the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and don't say
a bunch of pussies right there.
Don't say none of that was McCaskey. You're just not listening to what we're saying.
You don't know anything about it.
We talked about it. I talked about it when I was in Buffalo, talking to people on the production crew, where they specifically pointed out that ownership from Chicago were an issue with swearing, with everything like that. We've never seen anything like it, but it is what it is.
HBO Max, we swear on this show, parental guidance is suggested because we're not here raising your kids. There's going to be some cussing on the show.
Fuck yeah.
So this is where Eric loses, is Richie asking this question. This isn't a chicken or the egg science question, right? Did Ryan Poles really get the opportunity? Was it really his hire? Then who the fuck did? George, who doesn't interfere? Or was it right? You see what I'm saying? We don't know.
Phil, who gives a fuck about remove it? Who hired Shane Waldron? Who okayed that?
Ryan
Who did the Chase Claypool trade? Who okayed that? Right. Stop.
I have zero faith in Ryan Poles. I know what the kind of athlete that you're looking at drafting. We've said this every week now. We'll continue. And now what transpired today, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, for the Bears to hide their quarterback in the face of this kind of scrutiny is atrocious.
Let that shit linger. For what?
Get his ass out there,
right,
and own the truth of what you said. How you hide? It's totally on the McCaskies and the Bears organization to have him out there. Now I was talking to our boy Greg brags beforehand, and he agreed, but he made a good point. Like, well, how much is this on Caleb? He's a grown man. I go, Greg, he's 22 years old, whatever. His dad is involved in this. Phil, he's a man. I go, no, he's not. He's
Oh my God, Greg, droning on and on. Shut the fuck up, dude.
I go, he's not. He's also got a new head coach there who's setting the tone. So I've been around this team, Shane. We've been fans forever. We'll always be fans. But the McCaskies and the Bears media soft conglomeration, and we had hope that Kevin Warren would change this shit, but now it's becoming a dumpster fire of the same kind. And it's like, we're gonna protect all these guys at any cost. And I'm sorry, Caleb should have been out there and put this shit to bed now. Well, thank you. Yes, I got a haircut today from my Dominican barber, Jorge. Shout out to you, Jorge.
Sorry, Claudio.
I agree with a guy right here, though. It's like, you don't, if you wanted it to be, an issue, you would just enforce the rules right here, right now, and you would stop it. But, I think there's a gray area, right? Like, if there's an issue,
100%.
It's because of the guys in the line of scrimmage going head first at each other. That's where I can see the issue. But if you're talking about,
I don't have an issue with that. I can fight. I'm sorry.
My point is
putting someone behind someone and pushing them.
Yeah,
I think you could take that out of the equation.
That's my point. Is like, that's the issue. Is like, you have these guys going at each other, and then somebody's pushing the pile right on top of their necks. Like that, I can see that. But they tried to throw on no pushing downfield. Like if a running back, a running back breaks a 5-yard gain, and then he's still pumping his legs, and here comes the offensive lineman pushing him downfield, they will outlaw that too. That's where I draw the line. I'm like, well, why would that be? Why would that be something that needs to be taken out as well? When clearly the issue is somebody going to break their fucking neck on the line because they're getting jammed up by somebody else pushing, another man on top of them. That's
where they lose their
right. I feel you.
And I can get behind if they were to say, listen, putting the running back, you put 2 guards, 2 fullback, whatever, 2 tight ends in A gap, and get that wedge going and get the first, you earn it. I can get behind them saying nobody behind the quarterback pushing the quarterback. But to take away.
Well, what you do, and let's be honest, and nobody wants to hear this. Stop it. Yeah, that's
right.
The obvious one. I tell my guys, you just fucking fold the quarterback in half.
Every time?
Every single fucking time they run.
100%.
Every fucking time. And then you will see it when guys start falling off the fucking map and getting hurt. Then you will see the pivot. But that's how you got to coach it up.
And the Bears media department is awful. They're disgusting. They're so pathetic. They're more worried about swearing and Guy Finley in the fucking crowd shooting a video of fucking training camp practice than they are of getting the right people and promoting the Chicago Bears. I just watched New England's fucking post-draft coverage. That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Let's give our fans 25 minutes. And you know what? I got it on good authority that the Bears haven't released theirs because they have to edit the shit down because they're absolutely embarrassed at how the behind-the-scenes look of Ryan Poles getting fucking mollywopped all over the place out there on it during the draft. We can't let our fans see this shit. Yeah, we saw it anyway. So the truth of this 1920 drive and how they edit the shit down, God, it's so pathetic. It just leaves a bad taste. There's so much to be happy about. And then there's George McCaskey and the Bears continuing to throttle. It's like putting a governor on a freaking NASCAR. That's what they do. It's like you got this amazing fucking tradition of the Chicago Bears. They were the monsters of the Midway. They were badass. Everybody knew when you play the Bears, you're going to play defense. You're not going to, I mean, no one swore more than Dick Butkus did on the field, threatening lives. This was the culture and the building of these guys. Lance Briggs, fucking all of these guys. Zor, they handled their business and tried to set the tone for this city and this franchise. The McCaskies have been a deterrent. It's like that fucking blog boy nerd coming out on the field trying to coach somebody up on a freaking 3 technique and how to deliver the blow. It ain't happening because they don't know how to do it, coach it, or know anything about it. And that's sad that your owner is this pathetic. It is. We should be so much further along that we just got to sit here and pray. I saw Shane's great. Jack did a great job of capturing Shane's point there. And I know this is a 3-hour show and winning does cure all. And we hope that's it. D. Levine, but Shane made the great point. If Ben Johnson comes out there during training camp and is allowing the utter opposite of what he stands for to take place because George and ownership want it that way, then he's terrible, and this franchise will continue to dwell in mediocrity and below.
You're gonna find out a lot about Ben Johnson. I know everything right now, but once camp opens up, and this again, my short that got put out, if it's Club Med again, then you are literally right back in the same boat that you've been in the entire time. And you're going to have a lot of questions answered immediately about Ben Johnson. Unfortunately, I have a hard time grasping that he's going to go down that pathway with everything that he said and everything that he's done to this point.
Yeah.
I mean, even little things like when Brad Biggs asked him about the tush push, he's like, guys, I'm about big plays. The Bears have been a 3 yards in a cloud of dust franchise for 85 years. So even that was anti-Chicago Bear. I love hearing things like that. And that's what they're going out and getting all of this firepower. Now they have to put it in place, use it properly, get these guys coached up, put them through a legitimate training camp. What was there? 11 guys out today? Maybe they're adjusting. Maybe they're adjusting to this new way.
Soft muscle tissue injuries.
Yeah, soft tissue. Luther Burden was one of them. But that's the thing. You're going to see that. You're going to see guys nicked up. And you know what? It is. Would you rather your guys go through the proper channels in training camp and get nicked up or not play well in the season?
Then you heard the media. Well, you were really shouty there.
Yeah.
You're pathetic, media.
Yeah, because you're wants it done right.
Because that's what a coach should be doing. That's what we've called for forever.
They haven't seen it. You're right. They haven't seen it, Phil. That's the thing. You haven't seen somebody step up and say, "Hey," and demand excellence. That's the whole point. That's what he's been emphasizing since rookie
media pointing it out
to now.
Phil, they're gonna
emphasizing that shit.
They are going to pivot no matter what happens. Like I just said with Caleb in the forcing the ball more and throwing more picks, and now it's he was horrible today. It's
starting
right on May 21st.
7-on-7 drills.
Right.
What are you doing?
We got to bring Angelo in to your flag football league and have him start charting the quarterbacks.
Yeah, start charting all these quarterbacks, Angelo. It's like when our patrons started sharing with me Carm's take and how frustrating it is. I don't know. Maybe CH Joe wants that kind of contrarian, oblivious. I'll be the bad guy.
Well, what were Tyson Bajan's stats? Right?
They were amazing, Shane, as he watched on the sideline and threw 2 balls. Who knows? I just couldn't believe we're charting. This is what? OTAs? OTAs we're charting?
Yeah, and like he pointed
It's
out
the Bears' fault too.
DeAndre Swift was amazing today.
Really? Did anyone tackle him? Anyone
In
have
OTA?
pads on?
Yeah, OTAs. That's what.
Come on,
it's just
bro.
come on.
Like, bring the nerds back into the
Did you
herd.
see the
of
hang time on that
lap.
Torrey Taylor punt?
Oh my God, Swift looked amazing today. No one was tackling. There was
In an
no
OTA.
pad.
Yeah.
And he really ran. What does he do well? He runs fast. Yeah. Fuck. So pathetic, man. What? There's such a tide, an evil tide that I'm seeing happening. Not only with the fans, but the media saw the fans in the Civil War, and now they continue the same formula and recipe that we're going to continue to drive this home. And the Bears catered to it as well because they're just completely stupid when it comes to what is necessary. A behind the scenes look at a organization that has never ever pulled the curtain back truly is something every Bears fan around the world wanted to see. And your boy George, come chameleon, the muffin boy, he put in a stop to it. He continued to continue the fraudulent facade. And that should make every Bears fan concerned. And I always bring up my great friend Adam Rank because he was pushing back at me, saying I'm worrying much about nothing. And it isn't. It's completely the smoking gun in hitting in the closet. That's who you are. You're so afraid of truth that everything you do is a lie.
Well, the Bears haven't bought the benefit of the doubt in us giving them our optimism. So that, I love Adam too, but
he plays this fucking surfboard of optimism.
Your praise is misguided because
100%.
It's not based in reality. It's based on hope.
We've been down
we all
the hope.
Right, exactly.
What was his name? We don't see him anymore because Justin Fields went to Pittsburgh and shit
Cool
the
Kennedy?
bed.
Oh,
not Cool Kennedy. The other, what was his name with the cigar? I hope there's hope. I love that.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
What was his name? He went
Gary?
on the fucking. What's his name? Gary.
Gary.
Yeah, Gary.
Gary, where are you? We need that drop, bro.
Yeah. But that's the
Gary, my
thing.
boy. He
I
went
love
out.
Gary.
The hope went the fuck out like
Right.
a sewer drain.
But yeah, and it's. I mean, I don't want to get
George
sucked into
told
the vortex.
George told all the fans there was no sandstorm. That was your imagination.
Yeah.
No sandstorm in Chicago. That was fake. And okay, cut it out of the tape, guys.
I mean, I didn't really feel dust though. Like it wasn't like you were getting hit with a bunch of. Definitely wasn't a sandstorm, but I mean,
Dion Miller said it looked like the end of days.
It did. Very brown in the sky.
Yeah,
I saw the fucking the satellite picture. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
It looked like out of a movie, like the fucking Harry Potter. Those black things were flying.
Yeah, but it wasn't like there's a bunch of sand
That's like Prison Mike
or dirt building up everywhere.
You know who was bad in the prison chain? The Dementors.
We ate gruel. Nothing but gruel.
Gruel. so fucking great.
Oh,
my
Jesus.
God. Fuck Logan. Get that drop, too. Get that drop. The Dementors.
Fuck you, bullets.
We need a fuck you, Logan drop with the Dementors.
Was that picture that you sent me today? Was that Logan's picture with the Sanborn jersey?
I think that was his collection. I go, this one dude has Mac. Listen to this. Mac. Urlacher. Briggs. Fensick.
Hillenmeyer.
Jimbo Covert. Peppers. Hester. Singletary. And then in the middle it says Sanborn. Like, what the? Is this Muck or Logan? Oh my God.
That was funny.
Prison
Yeah, but it just
Prison.
listen, you can tell it's May, and you know, it's just so goddamn nauseating, you know, like the whole Boomer Esiason thing, and Boomer did the same fucking shit in the draft.
Great job by Cap and Hood.
Yeah.
Or is it Shea Snorlin pulling that audio of Boomer back when he was drafted? I will never play for the Colts.
Yeah.
I will never play for the Colts.
But Caleb, you're entitled. You're entitled.
Right. And the fact that he didn't force his way out. I mean, what are you fucking complaining about?
The entire fucking
You know what I
point-
mean? Like, what are we?
The entire point is the newest quote from Caleb is, I'm going to Chicago. You know, I want to be there.
Exactly.
That is the quote that nobody is talking about. And I was going to wait and bring this up with Waldman, but fuck it. I'll bring it up right now because it fires me up.
Oh, I didn't even send him the invite. Fuck.
At no fucking point did Caleb Williams or anybody from his camp or Seth Wickersham say that he doesn't know how to watch tape. That was never said. He said when he was in Chicago, they didn't tell him what to watch or what to focus on. That was it. I know we're going to get into this with Waldman, but people are just running with this bullshit narrative to pile on to this fucking kid for no reason at all. Listen, do I have some issues with Caleb and his dad wanting to come out and give these fucking quotes? Yeah, I do. I think it's pretty fucking dumb because no good is going to come from it. There was nothing good ever going to come from that. But here we are. Let's deal with the facts now as they've played out. And it's just, you know, Waddle and Sylvie talked to Kurt Warner about it. And Kurt Warner is like, hey, Sylvie said, listen, the Bears don't deserve
They brought
the benefit
Kurt
of the doubt.
Warner on it too?
Oh, yeah. They held him accountable, too. I was actually proud of him because he's like, Kurt, they've done this over and over. They did it with Mitch. They did it with Justin. Now they're doing it. They did it again with Caleb. And Kurt goes, well, that's easy to say. Now you guys have the benefit of, you know, hindsight. What the fuck are you talking about, Kurt?
It's not easy to say. That's the reality of the truth.
It has nothing to do with having the benefit of hindsight. It's been the Bears' way for decades, for a half a fucking century. That's the way that they don't know what they're doing, but they keep on repeating. He's like, well, if you have a blueprint and you follow the blueprint and you think at some point you're going to find success. Kurt, that is the dumbest fucking quote that I've ever heard. And that's from Kurt Warner.
That's why.
Why do you follow a blueprint over and over and over again if it doesn't fucking work? That just means you're clueless. That means your blueprint sucks.
That's
the one thing the Bears are good at.
It's like trying to get your boat under the Brooklyn Bridge when it's too big. It just the blueprint shouldn't lie, but it did. That's the reality.
It was a
and
system
the Bears
failure.
have done it.
It was a system
the Bears
failure.
have done it. System failure
It's
after
a Bears
system failure. The Bears have always continued down this path. I just want to get David fucking Putney in here. Let's get David Putney.
Does he know how to watch tape?
I hope. I mean, did they teach him? But before Matt comes on, I just want to say, I as an experience, guys don't always know or have a direction. It's important for the coach to show this is the game plan. This is how we're watching the tape. And this is what I want you to go home and study.
You know what? My son's 14, so he's going to be driving in a couple of years.
Yeah.
When he asks me for advice, I'm going to be, how many times have you been in the fucking car with me? You didn't pay attention?
Exactly. Like, it's not hard. I'm sorry, Emmanuel Acho. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're so entitled and that you understand what the Bears organization has done because your brother Sam played there for a year and a cup of coffee. No, you don't know how pathetic this place is and has been.
It's surface level BS from the national media.
Let's bring out somebody who should be with TTNL out in the national media educating football with a button, Matt. I promise if we were to swear, they would cut that out of the national broadcast. But let's bring him out. You know him. Some of you refer to him, or most of you, as your favorite guest on TTNL.
Duval.
No, it is not him. It is the guy with the rookie scouting portfolio, more pages than Braggs has ever read in his life, Matt Waldman.
Well, it's that time of year again, Bears fans. And our favorite guy, he's back. Once we flipped the calendar, there was only one man for us to call to help us kick off our NFL draft coverage. Yes! The rookie scouting portfolio creator,
give me some fucking names,
has set it all up to help get you prepared. You won't find another more comprehensive NFL draft guide out there. Bears fans, TTNL fans, you are now on the clock. And with the first pick of the NFL draft, TTNL Network selects
Keeping it alive, keeping it 100.
Matt Waldman.
There he is on the base. Breaking down the base. What's up, Matt?
I felt like Dylan Gabriel on draft day right there. What? Really? Okay.
Oh, shit. That's great. Oh, man.
So how y'all doing?
Well, not great. We're trying to figure this fucking franchise out that can't seem to get out of its own fucking way.
Well, I mean, isn't it mostly hindsight now? I mean,
Yeah.
At least the fact that we're just talking about trauma in the rearview mirror at this point with all the BS that happened.
If you're running this team, aren't you bringing Caleb out today when you have this large media session and you bring out 6 other players rather than just let this linger? Let him come out, speak on it for 5 or 10 minutes, get it out of the fucking way, and just turn the page. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably. You probably do, but I would imagine that the coach doesn't really care one way or the other.
He kicked his presser off today with it. He goes, "Well, I hear my quarterback's been in the news a little bit today."
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So it's just you can play it off that way, but just I don't know. They're so restrictive and scared of every little fucking thing.
The organization. I would be willing to bet my mortgage that this is an organizational decision. They didn't want to put Caleb up there to take the bullets, but it's the wrong move, Matt, in my opinion. Just get it out and over. I don't have a problem with them not wanting to go to the Bears based on where they have been, you know?
Yeah. He could answer that question easily and it would be done.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're the executives of the Chicago Bears, you're probably telling on yourselves by being that restrictive. So it is what it is. I mean, Ben Johnson's having fun with it as much as he can because he's the new face of the organization, you know, and he's gonna steer this in the right direction, and eventually these Bears will the Bears upper management will either conform or you know, once they get comfortable with winning, you know, which might take a little bit, but I think it'll happen within Ben Johnson's regime. Once they get comfortable with winning, I think that we'll see them, you know, probably handle things a little different. There'll still be some moments, I'm sure, that will give you guys plenty of firepower, unfortunately for them, you know, but I mean, to me, it's the reaction of what you guys were talking about. The reaction of the people that I joke around who have Stockholm syndrome, which are former NFL quarterbacks who succeeded in spite of the fact that they weren't developed. I mean, you look at Kurt Warner, and I mean, as great of a player as he is, and when you look at what he does on Twitter, I mean, listen, he talks a lot about the game from a quarterback's perspective. He does a really good job of breaking down some things that could be better or that would be helpful from a quarterback's point of view who played in the systems that he played in. But for him to talk about film watching and to say, well, you know, I didn't have to do it, and nobody showed me in my day, you know, well, nobody showed anybody in his day all that well. And on top of that,
maybe if somebody did, you wouldn't have been bagging fucking groceries for 4 years.
That's the point. That's exactly the point, because that's the other difference is that Caleb Williams was paid millions of dollars as a first-round pick to begin as a starter. Kurt Warner was paid the amount of money to be a crash test dummy on the practice squad or on a scout team before they kicked him out and had him bagging groceries, and admirably worked his way back into becoming an NFL starter and playing great football. But the fact of the matter is that if you're an organization and you're spending that much money, first thing I would think is you go, maybe we get a veteran quarterback in here who can provide some guideline about being, you know, he doesn't have to be a former starter of great repute, but he could be a Case Keenum, you know, who you guys have now, who's been like with multiple teams and has worked his way through and has been in some rooms with some really good quarterbacks and some bad ones, and be able to say to Caleb,
exactly,
probably how you want to do this. Here's what I did. Here's what helped me. Here's what helped this guy, you know, that was better than me, and where you want to aspire. On top of that, you would think that if you're paying a guy that much money, you would put some coaching staff in there that would want to understand where he's going with the film, and is he studying the things we want him to study? Are we on the same page with how he studies the film? And maybe we want to outfit him with resources that might help him get better actionably with film study. Like, say, you know, I was on a Washington podcast this afternoon, and they were talking about we're talking about Jaden Daniels and the VR headset, and, you know, what they're doing with Jalen Milroe up in Seattle to follow that plan. You know, you would think if you're going to spend money on your first round pick, that you don't do the John Wayne School of Swimming for boys and throw them in the water.
Exactly.
And as my buddy Dan Hatman of the Scouting Academy, who, if you've never heard of the Scouting Academy, it's a really good organization. It's a business that he's worked with guys like Louis Riddick and some other folks, where he has actually placed a fair number of scouts in the NFL now who are now doing well. And Dan's a former scout, worked with the Eagles and the Giants. And Dan and I were talking about Jaden Daniels this morning, because we both agree that it's like, yeah, he had a great season, obviously, but there's a lot of factors involved with that. And I want to kind of talk about that later with this, because I've got some numbers to compare Jaden and Caleb, and they're not as bad as you think. And with some other top quarterbacks, actually. But the fact of the matter is, Dan, when we were talking about Kurt Warner, Dan goes, there's somebody, I don't remember who it was, and I can't remember who to attribute to. Dan was saying, and I don't remember who it was, but he said, it's like when those engineers came back, those engineers saw pilots who came back from World War II, and the wings were all shot up, and they made it back, and Kurt Warner would be the pilot who would go, well, my wings got shot up, but I made it back. I'm okay. You guys should be okay too. And Dan's like, yeah, but maybe we should be looking at, it's not the wings that we're worried about. It's it's the planes that didn't come back because they got shot up elsewhere that we're trying to figure out how to deal with that type of thing. And I think that that's where these guys who, Kurt's job, somebody told Kurt Warner, or he intuited it himself, because I'm sure he's a smart guy, is that, well, I can tell people about my experiences and it would be good content, but the problem is that's his experiences. So and they're limited. So if you're, from a standpoint with what Williams did, yeah, of course he doesn't want to go to the Bears. I love the Cleveland Browns. If I were a top quarterback prospect, I wouldn't want to go there either. I mean, especially from what people are probably are telling you.
And Matt, how many people were talking to Dad and Mom and Caleb? Oh my God, how many former USC alums, like the Chicago Bear? They're a dumpster fire. I mean, they haven't had a 4,000-yard quarterback in the history of their. It becomes that background thing. So it's like, of course that's going to be. I would never hold that. It's so sad. I don't know how Wickersham, I don't know how this is set up. I know they're teasing it now to release it later. And I don't know how we got this story going, but obviously
it got going because the Bears open up the season with Minnesota on Monday Night Football, and the Bears, it came out literally the next day when they were talking about the Bears and Monday Night Football and prime time kicking off the season. Caleb in that he had the blurb of Caleb wanting to go to KOC in Minnesota. So that's when, oh shit, we got this gold here. We're going to help promote this book. Boom, all that shit drops. It was all within a 24-hour period, not even.
Yeah. I mean, again, in the scheme of things, is it really that big a deal? No. I mean, I'll tell you what was a big deal, and it still wasn't a big deal back then, but it should have been. Peyton Manning sitting on some trainer's face in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That should have been a big deal.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston was a big deal. What was going on at Florida State? Somebody stating their preference of where they would like to go and privately doing it, that's not a big deal, on that level.
And Matt, what is the most important quote out of all of this? It's that Ryan Poles told Caleb, hey, I'm drafting you no matter what you say.
Yeah.
But please just come meet with us first, and then we'll go from there. Caleb meets with the Bears. His quote from Wickersham, however you say it, is, I can do it for this team. I'm going to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
That's the quote that nobody wants to talk about.
And here's the thing that let's just look at some performance background stuff, because a lot of people are talking about like, yeah, he had a shitty season last year, according to some people, right? Okay, let's put some of that in context, because I was looking at Jaden Daniels, and to me, when you scout quarterbacks, and especially when you're scouting the first season of an NFL starter or the first 2 seasons, you want to be able to combine the talent of the player with the surrounding talent with the scheme and the execution of that scheme. Now, if we look at Jaden Daniels, who had arguably the best quarterback season ever statistically, okay, we got to remember that he threw for a rookie threw 3 to 4 times as much within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage than the NFL average, which is an extreme schematic type
and
of
you
thing.
heard that all pre-draft here on TTNL.
Right.
That would be exactly what happens.
Yeah. So they gave him a nice guardrails to start with. Okay. Now, then as the season went along, they started to loosen up the guardrails a little bit and let him throw downfield a little bit more, and he had some success. Wasn't like he was bad throwing downfield at LSU. What he was not particularly great at was when pressure was arriving, and it wasn't blitz, but pressure, like base scheme pressure.
Right.
And he had to go from first read to second read to third read and do it in a timely, confident way, and then make the accurate throw. And then you started to see that he was a little hit or miss with that compared to everybody else. But the teams, the way teams work and the way the NFL works in terms of with quarterback development is most scouts say you need 18 to 30 games to really know what you have at quarterback. So what can happen is like with Marcus Mariota or CJ Stroud or Baker Mayfield early on, or a number of players who start off hot, is that teams after 6 to 8 games go, okay, we've seen enough from them in the pros to say maybe there's 1 or 2 things we could try, just 1 or 2 that maybe our scheme and personnel can do against him that might foil him and bait him into one mistake. Because we know an interception can be the difference in a game in the pro level. That margin of error is tight.
No, throw more interceptions, man.
Right, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, I forgot. We're in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Cleveland. We just don't throw it all anymore. We're planning on just running the ball, But they're going to dig up Jim Brown and probably like wheel him out there. But they'll at least scare the shit out of everybody. But then when it comes to this, it takes another 6 or 7 weeks for these defenses to start observing and going, now let me add one more thing, and then one more thing, and then maybe some defense discovers 3 or 4 things, and now suddenly you have a book on them. But that usually takes, if it's a traditional offense, it might take middle to end of the season. If it's an offense as extreme as Cliff Kingsbury's, where they're doing things to an extreme, they may be more cautious about that. And then now you're looking at middle of the next season. So we haven't seen Jaden Daniels tested from a complexity of scheme standpoint the way that he will be. So I bring that up because when you look at Jaden Daniels, they had the exact right way to use him. Yeah. With Caleb, they did the exact wrong thing, which we all guessed, which was we talked all about what happened there.
Yep.
But when you look at what happens, I compared Jaden, Caleb, Bo Nix, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and I threw in that crazy Kyler Murray just for fun into this list of guys and looked at what their stats were versus the blitz last year and versus pressure last year. And when you look at like the blitz, which is, for most people, we all know what the blitz is, but it's, so they're bringing an extra man from their base. Okay. At least one extra man. So when you look at Jalen Daniels, he was at a 64% completion percentage against the blitz. That's pretty nice when you consider that Mahomes, who was harassed a lot last year, was 64.6. Jalen Hurts was 63.9. Brock Purdy was 67.5 against the blitz. Lamar Jackson, 65.3. Josh Allen was 64. Burrow was 68. Bo Nix was 60, and Caleb was 57. Okay. But now let's consider Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had prescribed dropbacks, didn't have any receivers playing out of position, and while his offensive line wasn't great for at least the entire season, they were throwing behind the line of scrimmage, and Caleb was having to drop back 3, 5, and sometimes 7 steps, on plays and he was getting the shit kicked out of him. Now, if you look at interception percentage, against the blitz, you would think Caleb had to be higher, right? Like after what was going on, or you would think with all the harassment. The highest person was Kyler Murray at 3% and Brock Purdy at 4% with their snaps. And their snaps against the blitz are all within similarity. Jaden Daniels, 1%. Caleb Williams, 1% of his. So he did well. He took care of the ball. Sack percentage, 12% against the blitz. 12% of his snaps resulted in sacks. Well, I mean, Jalen Hurts, 15% of his snaps were sacks against the blitz with a much better offensive line. You know,
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Then you look at Jaden Daniels, 11%. Even though they were throwing the ball quickly, he was sacked 11% of the time. Caleb, who was still trying to figure out how his drops might match the box of chocolate routes that DJ Moore was running, is only at 12%. You know, so the best was Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson wasn't the best, but he was at 5%. So you look at that. Now, those are the blitz. Those numbers against the blitz are easier than against pressure because you're at least expecting that you got to get rid of the ball faster when someone's coming, right?
Right.
So against pressure, you're like, this is our base. We're facing their base defense. We're expecting we're going to be able to protect against the base. And when pressure comes, that really fucks up quarterbacks because the highest completion percentage of all these guys I just talked about last year was 58.8% against pressure. Okay, which everybody goes, wow, that's not very good in the scheme of like just overall completion percentage. That was Joe Burrow. Okay, 58% pocket quarterback. All right, who can move. Brock Purdy at 54 was next. Pretty damn good. Kyler Murray, I hate to admit it, was at 50.5%, which I was like a little surprised by, but hey, good for him. But like Pat Mahomes, 45.5%. Jalen Hurts, 45.2%. Bo Nix was at 49%. Pretty damn awesome. Lamar Jackson, 51%. You can see that that wasn't bad compared to everybody else. Jaden Daniels, 47.8%. So where was Caleb? 44%. Not that far away from Jaden, you know, from that standpoint. They both threw 6 TDs against pressure, which isn't like top of the list. Lamar Jackson ate people's lunch with 12 touchdowns, and Joe Burrow had 14. You can see those two guys knowing what they're doing there from that end, whereas Patrick Mahomes had 5. Kyler only had 1 touchdown against pressure. So he ran around a lot and completed some passes, but he wasn't really that effective. Interception percentage, though, I mean, like Caleb was at 3%. So was Jaden, you know. Lamar Jackson was only at 1% against pressure, which is pretty fucking awesome. It tells you why, like, when people like you guys and me and other people say Lamar Jackson is a pocket quarterback who just happens to be one of the best runners in football, this supports that. You know, like the dude is a rock in the pocket, you know, whereas, you know, Kyler Murray, 5% interception percentage, which was the highest of everybody there from that. Now, the thing that really we start to see, and the last 2 things I'll note is sack percentage. You know, sack percentage against pressure. When you should expect your line to block, but they're not. Okay.
Right.
You know, Lamar Jackson was the lowest or second lowest, 17%. Not bad. 13% for Josh Allen. That was tops. 41% for Jalen Hurts, which not all that great considering the luxury that he has of that line and Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown reading books, you know. But like, you know, Mahomes was at 28%, you know, but Jaden Daniels with a 38%, not very good, especially when you got all these short drops and quick throws, right?
Right.
So he's, you know, I would say that's a little more inflated. Caleb's was awful, 54%.
Yeah.
54. I mean, like it wasn't even close, but you can see how the scheme and the play of surrounding talent impacted that, you know, and the disorganization. If you don't know the depth of the route, don't know how much you should drop. And I'm not saying on every play this is happening, but on some enough plays that it's mentioned to people where you don't know that's happening. And on top of it, you're not watching film with anybody else, but for you to figure it out in the next league. And and your offensive line sucks balls, then suddenly you're at 54%. That's pretty awful considering the fact that you're getting sacked a shit ton, but you're still not throwing interceptions more than anybody else. You're taking care of the ball. You're, in terms of like not throwing the ball and being rash. He's standing in there and taking punishment and still trying to get the job done and being on par in a lot of other categories. As a guy who basically got thrown in the worst situation for a quarterback in football last year. And, his yards per attempt was only 5.4. Jaden's was 7.5. But again, you look at the scenario. So for me, the stats show you a picture, but there's also the context behind it. So when I look at Caleb Williams and I see some of the craptastic stuff, I go, well, I know what explains that, or I can paint a picture that's pretty clear that probably explains that and probably matches what really happened. And then, but then there's things that he did that were really good. So now imagine now that he has a real offensive coordinator and someone who's gonna and added weapons and
competency on the interior of the line.
Yeah, and competency on the interior of the line. I mean, these are things that are going to make a big difference. And I mean, I've talked to so many players who they go, listen, I never got taught anything. They brought me in because I was an athlete and I did fit their scheme and I could do what I needed to do. And that was what happened. Aaron Rodgers talked a lot in his show where in between, visits to Costa Rica with the ayahuasca retreats, which were kind of fascinating TV. But in between that, they're talking about him having to really spend time on his own in high school and college, just obsessively watching film and trying to learn what he needed to learn. And, that's what has made great quarterbacks in the past. Sometimes,
right.
I mean, if you think Caleb's numbers were bad, I'm not going to go into it, but Josh Allen is a hold my beer example of like, you think that was bad. My rookie season, you should have seen what my numbers look like there and what he was able to do to turn it around. And I don't think he's as talented as Caleb Williams is.
Matt, I've been around football like same as you. I've talked to a lot of players, and it's disheartening to me to hear the former players attacking Caleb and Boomer Esiason. When to piggyback off of what you just said, I've talked to so many players. When you have piss poor coaches, they don't teach. The best coaches teach. So there's accountability to go along with what it is you're teaching. And thus, Caleb wasn't getting that. We all knew that keeping Eberflus was a mistake. Yet the Bears kept Eberflus, doubled down by hiring Mr. Shane Waldron because Cliff Kingsbury was a threat to Matt Eberflus. It came down to those two guys. So when you look at Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson, and there's going to be an expectation and there's going to be landmarks and rhythm, he's already speaking my language because I think every TTNL fan knows how much I believe getting under center for a young quarterback is so important so they can see the field. He's talking about that now. How much of a difference, getting to the question, does Ben Johnson bring to Caleb Williams and his whole structure in the NFL now?
I think it's massive because just from even an just superficial optics standpoint, your division leader, the offensive coordinator of your division leader is now your head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taken a team that was more pitiful than any team in that division and has had a pretty bad run of luck with quarterbacks itself even if you discount Matthew Stafford to an extent, but they honestly, they held back Matthew Stafford, as well. I mean, if you really look at what he could have been, he was the precursor to Patrick Mahomes as a style of a player. And, they might as well put a cement shoe on him and tied a bag of wrenches around his waist, and he still managed to be decent at times, but
100%.
So when you look at it from that standpoint, there's buy-in right there from everybody. Everybody's going to buy in that Ben Johnson's going to be successful with what they do. Secondarily, when you start talking about teaching, or can you coach somebody up? You brought that up. What I hear is that, somebody told me he talked to an executive, been with multiple teams, and said they were having a conversation about coaching kids up and what happens in draft rooms. And he says, so what happened? So the scout said, what I'm basically understand and I've seen is that what happens in draft rooms is that it's a scout or one coach to another, or an executive or an owner that says to the person who's going to be the position coach or offense coordinator, can you coach him up? That's what they ask eventually if the guy has things to work on, which they all invariably do. Well, when you ask that question like that in the NFL, you're putting someone on the spot. It's a high pressure gig. You're basically saying, I need you to do this. Because if you say, no, I can't, then you're the problem. And then if somebody else drafts him and he does well, you were the impediment to that player developing or that player being on our team. And we're going to fire your ass. And because these jobs are so precious and few and far between, that when you are asked in a yes/no fashion, can you do it? You say yes, even if what the reality has been is that you're too busy with scheme and game plan. You hope the player fends for himself, and when he doesn't, well, you blame the player and you point the finger to the player rather than that you failed to put in a program to really coach him up, because that's generally what happens in the league. So then the scout said to this exec, what if instead in the league we had actually said, the people who are asking these questions actually say to the person, so these are the things they have to learn. How likely is it that this person could retain that information and put it onto the field, and how long would it take to get them to be able to do it if we drafted them? And at least then you would get an informed answer, because then a coach could say realistically, well, I don't know. It might be a 30% chance, and it might take at least 2 to 3 years for us to even find out if it worked. And that would allow the person who's supposed to be coaching them up to use their expertise, if they have any, to be able to apply that to the question. And the exec who heard this just lit up and said, I've never heard anybody in a room ask the question that way.
Yeah.
And it was like, of course, because everyone's trying to keep their job and cover their ass. And that's
the problem.
That's the problem. And so with Ben Johnson, now that, are they gonna do certain types of coaching that you would say probably belongs outside the facility? Probably not. But are they going to be so detailed with what they do that the player is going to be able to fill in the blanks with figuring out, this is what I need to work on to be able to achieve this process? Because it's not rocket science. They might go, okay, there's a lot of 3-step drops in this thing. I need to work on my 3-step drops and kind of refine this. Or I'm not getting the ball out soon enough off of these 3-step drops because I'm looking at this or this. And then now you can start, when you have a system that actually makes sense, that actually has details, you can start using those details to help teach yourself how to go about doing it. Because it's not like he doesn't know how to watch film. He doesn't know how to watch film relative to what they're trying to do and implement and what the league is trying to do against you, because he's never played in the league.
Yeah.
So now that you have a
Exactly.
system that makes sense, and you get to see, you probably be watching Lions film and seeing what defenses are doing against Goff, and what did Goff do to foil that, and be able to go, oh, okay, this is how that's going to translate. Now instead of Jameson Williams, I got Roma Dunze playing the X over here instead of having Donovan Peoples-Jones or whoever the fuck they had at flanker. I don't remember. They have, they're going to have DJ Moore or Luther Burden, and then those guys will be trading in and out from the slot. But you can start applying one-to-one relationships and start realize about what to copy and how to copy it. And then you start to have those aha moments. And I think that if I'm taking it from the most cynical perspective and saying, the fuck if I know Ben Johnson's going to be going, now, Caleb, get your pencil out and let's talk about, because he's not going to do that, that at the very least, those things are going to happen that didn't happen last year. And at the very best, Case Keenum's going to be in there and Ben's going to go, listen, you know why I brought you in here, right? And Case is like, yeah, of course. He's like, I want you to point out stuff for Caleb.
When I leave the room,
have conversations.
You need to point out some things.
Yeah, you're an extension of me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
really
your
what
job.
it is.
And he should be. Ben himself should be pointing these things out. There's landmarks, there's fundamental things that have been missing in coaching within the Chicago Bears, and thus you've seen the dumpster fire that it is. Go ahead, Shane. I'm sorry.
Well, so this predates Ben Johnson getting here, but it's something that sticks with me. And Matt, I would love to hear your thought on it. I brought it up. Phil and I were the other morning. We were listening to Cap talk on his show, Cap and Jay Hood, and I texted Cap when he was on air, and he actually brought the question up onto the show, and I just can't get past it as a Bears fan, even. So you have the number one pick 2 years in a row. Obviously, we know the first year they traded down. Second year, you have the number one pick, Caleb, all the quarterbacks that are available. So they knew going into March, let's say, or even when the season was done, whenever they spoke to Caleb's camp, they knew about the issues that Caleb's dad and Caleb's camp had with the Bears, and Ryan Poles relayed the information to him saying, hey, I'm going to draft you number one no matter what. So come meet with us, give us a shot, we'll sit down. So they knew all that. But then the Bears pivot after that is when you get into all of the offseason, the draft prep, everything. They never brought in Jaden Daniels. They never brought in Drake May. They never brought in Bo Nick. They didn't bring any of the quarterbacks in other than Caleb Williams. So now my mind starts spinning is, were they afraid to bring those other guys in because that would piss Caleb's camp off? You know what I'm saying? We're drafting you no matter what, but now we're bringing in Drake May for a 30 visit, and we're going to sit down with him for 6 hours and talk. And Caleb's camp's like, oh, maybe they're not completely sold on me. So now we are going to spout off and try to do this. But how the fuck, if you have the number one pick in the draft, do you not do your due diligence with every one of these quarterbacks available when you're in the pole position? To me, it's malpractice. And listen, I had Caleb Williams number one by a sizable margin, but God damn, Matt, you're not up there you're not up top every year.
What if Caleb Williams died in a car wreck?
Right.
What if he decided that he was retiring and going to do something else? What
if he went and bagged groceries? No. What if he went and bagged groceries with Kurt Warner?
That's right. No. Exactly. What if he decided to? Yeah.
They were trying to go to the UFO.
He was trying to be a psychotherapist and have Emmanuel Acho as his first patient.
But how the fuck, even as incompetent as George McCaskey is, but Ryan Poles, how do you put yourself in that position to be like, no, hey, listen, you're my guy. I got to do my due diligence with these other guys. I got to bring them in. We got to get them, in Hallis Hall. We got to talk. I just don't know how you can be. To me, it's incompetence. It really is.
I agree because I mean, again, you do have to say. I mean, you don't have to worry about what Caleb thinks to the extent of that. All you had to do to say to Caleb was like, "Listen, dude, no one's guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we want you. We very much, God forbid, we want you to be alive on draft day and to have a long, healthy life and a fruitful career. But if something happened to you tomorrow and we're unprepared with what quarterback we're going to take, I'm out of a job." So you're going to just have to deal with the fact that the media and all the dumbasses that are going to get on the media and say that we're looking at other people means that we're not as interested in you as it looks. Okay. And you're just going to have to know that you know better and just trust that fact.
What big boys do, man.
That's what big boys do.
Let's not forget, he showed up to the draft with an embroidered shirt that said Chicago on the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like he didn't fucking get some assurances for a long time, but it just shows the organizational failure.
Yeah. And I mean, again, and people look at his dad and probably think Caleb's dad, Deion Sanders, things like that. But there's also the Mannings.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the Mannings, the way certain things are handled, I mean, Archie Manning basically destroyed a woman's reputation to save his son, who was guilty of what he did. I mean, I love Peyton Manning, the player, but just as, I love Brett Favre, the player, but, it doesn't mean that they're likable human beings or that they didn't do wrong and that they needed to probably see some justice for some of the things that they've done. But the fact of the matter is that, whether it was, or Eli for that matter, when you had Eli and what they did with Eli, I mean, was that leaked by the Mannings or was that leaked by the organization?
Right.
I don't remember, but I will say that, when you look at these things with, in terms of what they should have done, of course they should have looked at all the quarterback options. They should have had them all come in and spent the time to do that. Now they have a lot of holes and maybe they felt like they wanted to show confidence from that perspective, but it's still something that you would have liked the team to do, to finish all its homework. And this is a team that didn't do all its homework.
Yeah. And we were told, and I know we're going to stick to it. What we were told was that it was Caleb Williams. And if something had happened, like you mentioned, if the Bears had to pivot, it wasn't Jaden Daniels. It wasn't Bo Nix. It was going to be JJ McCarthy was the Bears pivot.
Wow.
Which,
yeah.
So I can't get over that fact that you're in the pole position and you're not doing you can give him all the assurances in the world behind the scenes. Hey, you're my guy. You're going to be a Bear, but I'm still bringing in these other. But then that shows you, if he can't handle that, then guess what? There's going to be a lot of other fucking issues that arise from that you're going to take from it and be like,
Matt,
you got to reassess.
Matt showed you the way.
Yeah.
That's what big GMs do. Like, you just have to be authentic. And that's where the Bears have failed.
I would just show them an ESPN 30 for 30 on Len Bias.
Yeah.
Damn right. And say, Len Bias, the great power forward out of Maryland, who after his draft night basically suffered a heart attack from coke, from that, and I don't know if he was from what I remember, I don't think he really ever even tried any before, and tried it that night and died. And he was considered on par with being the guy that it would have been Michael Jordan and Len Bias if it played out the way people thought in that league. And it's not like Red Auerbach was a shitty GM.
Right. And they were coming off the world championship that year, Boston was.
Yeah, Larry Bird in his prime.
Yeah.
Larry Bird in his prime was the
Len
lead.
Bias.
was with Len Bias. I mean, like
Wow.
people will tell you, I watch enough basketball, 80s basketball stuff that there's a lot of former players who say you don't get it. Larry Bird at that stage was the best player in the league, and it wasn't even close. As good as Jordan was ascending, Bird was, before the back injuries, was the best. And I get it, you know. So I mean,
three straight years MVP, I think, right? 84,
he was.
85, 86.
You're crushing my heart on Magic Johnson, but yeah.
Oh God!
Magic
do you want me to bring up live on air, Phil, your analysis of Michael Cooper being a better shooter than Michael Jordan? Do we want to talk about that?
I did not say that.
I hear you, but yeah, I mean, just show them that and just say, listen,
shit happens. Yeah,
shit happens. Don't do that, but yeah, shit happens, and I have to guard against this. I've got a whatever billion dollars this organization is worth, and I'm paying you this percentage of it according to the rookie salary cap.
Yeah.
You know, I'm responsible for this million. You're going to be responsible for this billion. You're responsible for this million. Can you get with that? Or is that something you're not going to learn before you even get into USC? You know, so he'll get it. And he's from what I knew from Will Hewlett, he's a good kid. You know, Will talked all the time about how, like, after practice, after working with him, his son's a quarterback over at Wake Forest now, but his son was just attending practice and throwing off to the side by himself. And Caleb spent an hour with him.
Yeah.
Nobody's around, no cameras are around, nothing's going on. He just is into the game, wants to get better, and he was helping this kid out. Nobody asked him to. He just did it. And it's that kind of stuff that he did regularly. You know, he's not a bad kid. His dad we may get the dad casting of what goes on, but if you know, I can think of probably 10 good kids I know who have dads that, as much as I like their dads, I might go, get the fuck out of the way. You need to, like, chill out.
Right, exactly. I see that all the time in what I'm dealing with in youth sports. So, and I'm fitting the stereotype dad because
Phil, could you hear me? This is your dad speaking. Can you?
There's my dad. I didn't want my son to be a quarterback. He wants to be a quarterback. He works his ass off to do what he does. I'm proud of that, but he's a better running back in my book that has become even over what I thought. But they
went through I mean, it was his fingernails, and then it was his lip gloss, then it was the phone case, then it was he wanted Bears ownership stakes, and you know, after the Notre Dame game, he was a completely different quarterback that really struggled the rest of the season.
And then you had the Civil War Justin Fields fanboys.
Yeah.
Some of them were invading our show already today. And then you had the ability. Now, I thought it was a layup for the GM to go back to that he's the best quarterback I've scouted since Andrew Luck.
I think we're all in agreement that Caleb was the guy, Phil, but it's still
I get your
should
point.
Not prevent you from bringing these other guys in.
The GM has to do what Matt Waldman said. It's exactly what I would have said. Like, listen, we are going to draft you. I got to do my due diligence because it's my fucking duty to do it. But you are our guy.
Caleb and his father were doing their due diligence.
They were and they should. And they should. If I'm a father of a quarterback, which I am, and Tate's playing at whatever, USC, Notre Dame, wherever, and he's going into the NFL, and the Bears have had this history, and their head coach is Matt Eberflus. And they have no offensive coordinator. They have fired their offensive coordinator. Now they're going to hire an offensive coordinator. And the history of the Bears has been what it is offensively at that position. I'm going to have reservations as a father. And that's okay.
But like, guy, this is and I've seen a couple of comments like this, but at the combine you get a 15-minute window with these guys. You're not sitting down with them on a 30 visit when they're in your space, in your facility.
Shane,
for multiple hours.
They putted for 10 minutes.
Finding out who, yeah, exactly. They're playing fucking putt and darts.
Putt and darts. The GM has been a problem.
Waldman, that's the actual truth. That's what they did at the fucking combine. They played. They had these guys in and played putt and darts.
I'm not surprised.
They did.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
They wanted to see their competitive flair for a fucking golf putt.
Dunder Mifflin, Chicago branch, I guess. There we go.
Fucking Prison Mike.
You know,
Prison Mike.
And speaking of Catholics and convicts, just as a matriculate to the
Zorich,
convict school,
Zorich,
I'll just say this: if your son Tate is good enough to be quarterback, and he ends up committing to Notre Dame, I am meeting him outside that place, and we are diverting that trip down south. That's where we are going.
Uncle Shane's not letting him go to Notre Dame. I'll tell you that.
Good. Right, you and I will be meeting him there on campus.
No, that's a no-go.
And there will be a rendition, you know, somewhere else.
I will put my faith in you two to direct him to where he should
hey,
go.
Uncle Shane, I'm going to Notre Dame. You want to fucking bet?
You know, that's what I loved about Chris Spielman and his stories about how he's like, you know, they grew up in Ohio and Ohio State all the way, and he's like, I think I'm going to Michigan. His dad goes, that's fine, but go ahead and pack all your shit up.
Imagine doing that nowadays. Oh man.
Yep. Yeah, defects will be all over you. But
jeez.
Yeah, I mean it's a hopefully they hired the right coaching staff, and then the coaching staff can branch out their influence from there. Now the big problem with that is that usually when you pick your coach first and you have a lame duck GM, then the coach has a say in picking the GM, which can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's usually how that works. You know, you would like to see, maybe ideally in theory, you'd like to see a new coach, new GM, same time. But because the GM then sometimes feels like they don't have much of a say and the coach has done enough to do so.
Right.
Or if the coach hasn't had success, now the new GM comes in and the coach feels like, well, I'm not tied to this guy.
Right.
And now this guy has, you know, a chance to just move on from me, you know. But I think with Ben Johnson's celebrity and success, it's probably going to be closer to even.
Yeah. And he's been the belle of the ball for 2 or 3 years now in terms of the coaching cycle and been selective. And let's be honest, if he didn't have any faith in Caleb Williams, he's not the Bears coach right now.
Yeah, that's right. Unless you're some like racist former Jets intern who is on Twitter who basically talks about things and had like literally a 2-month internship gig, and then and talks about how it was scouting.
Former scout,
and then he's a former scout in every wake of the way. And this is the kind of this is the frontier escape, the frontier lands of social media for you. Is that someone like he and I are practically indistinguishable from the standpoint of what the optics may look like.
Yeah,
but then when it comes to what kind of work you put in, it's a different matter altogether. Or you can have a scout who was with the Bears for a long time, who can say, watch that Notre Dame game.
Yeah,
because I mean, listen, Greg, I mean, he's a lovable curmudgeon, or maybe not. I don't know.
Boy.
He's a curmudgeon.
Better check your DMs tomorrow.
Oh, I will probably have some, but that's okay. He's DM'd everybody I know. So
I'll send you some screenshots.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Did he? No, I'm not going to go to the Jen Sturger route. But okay. But it is. I mean, it's just one of those things where everybody has an opinion, they've learned a certain way, and then they feel like that they can be bankable on that based on their experience.
Right, and this is the thing. So Phil knows, and I've brought this up 100 times, and I've kept this little business card right here on my monitor ever since the Notre Dame game, and kept track of Caleb Williams. And we addressed that narrative, and we did a watch party with our patrons and pointed out that, yeah, the 3 interceptions, but if you watch the game and you understand that 2 of the interceptions weren't even his fault, then you break it down. But these were Caleb Williams' numbers as a collegiate quarterback after the Notre Dame game. 1,612 yards. He was 124 for 185, 67%. He had 7 touchdowns, 1 interception with 5 rushing touchdowns. But he struggled.
He wasn't the same, that's for sure. But maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like
he didn't throw 3 picks in a game.
But that plays into.
Didn't they win that game? Didn't he make some ballsy ass plays at the end?
They lost. They lost.
They
lost.
He brought them back.
He brought them back.
He brought them
close
back.
and made some
driving
plays.
down.
Yeah.
Then that was the game he cried, right? Was that the game?
Oh, did they
no. That was Washington.
Yeah,
that was
Washington
game.
Yeah, they held it against him because he went to his mom and cried in his last game. I believe
that was his last collegiate game.
Last collegiate game. He sees the look in his mom's eyes that this is it, and he had emotion.
Comes down to
I'm like, oh my!
It comes down to Phil. It doesn't matter really what happens, especially with the media in Chicago and nationally, because the Bears are such low-hanging fruit where you can they have a rabid fan base. So it's easy clicks for the media because we're just going to bash the Bears. We're going to get everybody's going to show up and support and it's going to lead SportsCenter and all of this bullshit. But it's Matt, you broke it down and the number one thing with Caleb, and we all heard it last offseason was, hey, listen, Caleb Williams, it's all about hero ball. He can't do that in the NFL. He's got to throttle it down. He can't play hero ball. He's got to take care of the football. Is he going to be able to do that in the NFL? So now as a rookie with a complete fucking circus around him, complete chaos, 3,500, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And now Chicago media is like, I wish he would have thrown more interceptions, a little more hero ball, go out there, take some more chances. And that's what I said, like Mark Carmen from some CHGO brought it up, throw 13, 15, 16 interceptions, take more chances. And I said, imagine how good Peyton Manning would have been if he threw 50 picks as a rookie rather than 28, right? Using your fucking guys, your fucking blueprint, you morons. But can he get away from hero ball? He did, and now we need more of that because it doesn't fit the bullshit narrative that we're putting out there about this kid. It's crazy.
My dog agrees with you wholeheartedly, and he's wondering about how we can maybe these guys can do their own lobotomies.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe they just go.
Tell them to start with the Muffin Man.
Right
They
through
go
the
up the
nose.
nostril.
Yes.
They go through the ear, eyeball. I don't know. It's just that's insanity. And he had to be a hero. Hey, calm down, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. But too much hero ball, and then he actually had to be the hero in that offense, and it's just you can't win, and that's the nature. That's the nature of it all. Is that you're going to have reactionary kind of taking, and it is all false narrative. It's fake news. It's clickbait. All of it's clickbait. I'm like I said, even though I bought 2 Ravens hats finally, I did look for a Bears hat, but I didn't like what I saw, so I got to wait a little bit. They didn't have my size. They didn't have my size for what I did like at the NFL.com shop, so I'm waiting a little bit longer. But when you look at the Browns and what they had on radio, they're sitting there. Their main media people are talking about what they saw on the first 2 days of camp, as if like it's going to make a real difference because of how they carried themselves and
Yeah.
what they were doing. And I'm literally listening to this and I'm going, what's the difference between this and like barbershop talk?
Yeah.
And I would say, well, barbershop talk was smarter, probably.
Yeah.
There's some smart
Exactly.
dudes in the shop who are talking there who actually played,
Yeah.
But, no.
Well, I saw some of the breakdown of Brown's rookie minicamp, and they had 2 separate interviews, 2 completely different beat reporters. The first guy comes out there and they're like, all right, the 2 rookies, break it down. Who looked better? And he goes, oh, guys, listen, it wasn't even close. It's Dylan Gabriel all day. He spun the ball better. He looked so much better. 2 hours later, a totally different Browns beat reporter comes out there. All right, how did it look? Break it down. The 2 rookie quarterbacks. Guys, it wasn't even close. Shedeur Sanders, he had better command. He could really spin it. It wasn't even really close. And it's just like, what are we fucking doing? It's
a beauty contest right now.
It is.
That's all it is. And there's not even a talent portion involved with the pageant at this stage yet, because they're throwing against air. They're not even playing NFL defenses. We're not even, and this is what happens at the Senior Bowl. I literally have stuff on my site about how to watch practice and and what are the pitfalls of how people watch practice and report on it. And I remember when people were, I remember being at the Senior Bowl one year and people were literally couldn't stop talking about Braxton Miller and Nick Vannett and how both those guys were just killing it in the practices, and they were going to be future stars. And Vannett looked like Gronkowski. He was just killing the first. And I'm like, okay, so I watched the drills where I overheard these people saying this. And I remember thinking, yeah, he's running 2-way goes. He's not even, no one's touching him within the first 7 yards of the route.
Yeah.
Wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then for the next 3 days with Vannett, they touched him within the first 2 yards of the route, and he barely caught stuff. There were a lot of pass breakups. There were drops. There were just incomplete passes. He couldn't get separation. And then you watch Braxton Miller, and it's all 2-way goes, and it's all moves where you're like, this is like if Cooper Kupp had a completely undisciplined program on how to learn to play football, and it was like, Cooper Kupp on free jazz, basically, and it was just, and you're suddenly watching this, and it's like he's never going to be anywhere on time playing this, but you have people swear up and down because of what they think they saw. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson was just some afterthought. I remember in one of those. Kirk Cousins was okay. Dak Prescott, he was okay. But there were other people that shined. But it's all stuff not rooted in it, because again, you watch practice and there's so much going on in practice.
Right.
And most of it doesn't really apply directly to the field, to the level that's going to separate NFL players from college players. So, and half the time these guys who are making these proclamations are talking to their buddies about where they're going to go out to eat.
Exactly.
Who they're hoping to date, who they are dating, what, or what this person looks like, or what this, certain stories, and they're trading stories. And then they ask somebody else, well, who do you think looked good today?
Yeah.
I saw it all the time, so it's kind of funny how that works. And the more you understand that, the more you just kind of take all this stuff with a grain of salt and just go, don't let it bother you.
Yeah. And goddamn well, you've been around this long enough too, that there's prejudice that's built in. If you have an issue with a guy, or if a guy was rude to you in the locker room, all of that shit, you're not going to get, there's some guys will, but there's a lot of media members that dude's just going to be on the shit list for as long as they're together.
I think the worst case of that I saw, and look, I liked Russell Wilson coming out.
Yeah.
I loved my favorite Russell Wilson story was when my buddy Cecil Lamb, who's a Broncos beat reporter, was interviewing him at the Senior Bowl on media night. And I was listening to some dude argue with somebody about that a 4.6 40 was plenty fast as a wide receiver and rolling my eyes. So I looked across the room and I see Cecil sitting in a chair across from Russell Wilson. And Cecil says something, and Russell Wilson stands bolt upright, hands behind him, looking like he's about to do a bro down from South Park with Cecil. And Cecil stands up really quick, looking kind of confused. And then Russell Wilson went from like this like mean look to suddenly that smile and just kind of said something. And then they shook hands and they left. And so when the show, when it was over, we're getting back in the parking lot, I go, what the fuck did you say to Russell Wilson that made him look like he wanted to pick a fight with you? And he said, you caught that? I said, yeah, I was across here. He goes, you know, and this was the year that Tim Tebow won a playoff game in Denver.
Yeah, Denver.
And he said, so Russ, how would you like to back up Tim Tebow in Denver?
Oh man.
And he stood up and got pissed off. And then he realized, and he said, I have no intention of backing up anybody in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, you want to hear that.
You goddamn right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I was like, let me watch this Russell Wilson kid because I haven't scouted him yet, you know. But like, when you look at things like that and what Russell was like, the biggest hit job I saw in recent years was when he was in Denver. And yes, he had his own facility. So did Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know, nobody, you know, well, Peyton Manning won. He also had a decent coach. He also had good players around him.
Yeah.
Russ didn't really have any of that. And I'm not saying he was as good as Peyton, but, you know, this is a guy who was one play away from 2 straight Super Bowl wins and was played at a Pro Bowl level and has some all-time playoff moments. He's a good quarterback. So for Kyle Brandt in the middle of a game at halftime to come on, you know, the former Princeton running back, the former Young and the Restless actor, I think,
Real World.
Real World.
Yeah.
So, you know, he wanted to be an actor. He didn't want to be a football analyst. He may now like that he's a football analyst, and good for him, you know, and, you know, but the fact that he went on air and I literally listened to him at halftime talk about first, he goes, well, I really like Russ. He's a good guy, but you know, there's some things about him, you know, for instance, you know, we had this red carpet event, whatever the NFL does. We had this red carpet event, and I really wanted to interview Sierra, and I was hoping for that he would let me interview Sierra, the star fucker he was that night. That, you know, he asked, and apparently Sierra didn't want to be interviewed, and Russ was just listening to his wife, and when his wife didn't want to be, and they pushed for it, Russ just said no. And this was what Kyle Brandt's describing on the air, and then launches into a tirade about how Russell is phony. So if I listen to this, and then he's talking about how phony he is, and the narrative about him being phony, and he's disingenuous, and he's corny, and he's all these things, and he got everybody buying into that, even if some of that had truth to it. It was like he brought all that up and bashed him. Why? Because the beginning of the story is that he got dissed to being able to give an interview to an A-list celebrity, and he didn't get to do that. So now he's going to take it out like a high school kid at the popular kids lunch table and act that way. And I just thought that's a perfect example of that. Not that Kyle Brandt doesn't offer things that might be redeeming to his NFL show, you know, for a certain aspect of the public and what they do, you know, but that's the kind of behavior sometimes that you see. And I could easily look at him and say, you're a guy who, you know, obviously you played college football. You were a running back at a Division I team. And you were Ross Tucker's teammate, and, you know, good on you and all that. But you,
two of my most hated analysts in all of fucking football.
Now I will say I like Russ and Ross. I worked with him for a year, and I enjoyed him. So I'll put that out there. But, you know, and we all have our experiences with people, so I get it. My experience just watching Kyle Brandt, though, I go, that was petty. Like, I could easily say you're basically an actor who fell into this job and Peter principled your way up, and 100%. Now you got pissed off because you didn't get to have your celebrity moment with Sierra. and now you're going to bash a guy over his character,
right?
On the major network for the NFL.
Well, and that's the thing, and just to
that's the first time he's ever taken a hard stance ever.
Right. And it's over Sierra.
It's over Sierra.
Yeah. But just like, Ross Tucker was, he's questioning Caleb's, all of his decision making off of this article that came out. And he's like, I question him going forward. And it doesn't make any, there's really, all of this shit was from Caleb's dad.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And do I agree that they agreed to give the comments? No, because like I said, at the end of the day, nothing good was going to come from it.
No,
honestly, nothing was going to. Did you think at any point when you're saying, hey, we really didn't want to go to Chicago? Listen, I would just like Phil said, I would do the same goddamn thing with my son, even though I love the Bears. I would do the same goddamn thing. I love my son more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's everybody should be that way.
I don't think people who are in an uproar right now just don't have perspective. I think most people have enough perspective. Maybe the loudest people don't have perspective, but the people who have perspective, and you go, do you have a kid? Do you want the best for your kid? Yeah. If the Chicago Bears were the worst organization in the NFL for a quarterback historically, which they were, with the Browns being a very tight second, I would probably say, and maybe now first, now after Caleb, everyone would say, no, I wouldn't want my kid to play there. And somebody might argue, well, they're going to get paid enough. They'll have generational wealth. I don't care. You'd say, so you just telling your kid that the money's more important than you actually being in a place where you feel like you can succeed and have a fulfilling career.
Right. And let's not pretend like NIL doesn't play into this. He had 10 million before he even sniffed the fucking NFL.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't have $10 million in my fucking reserves, but that shit lets you fucking dictate some stuff. Let's just be honest.
And if you're young and foolish, you might ask, can I get ownership shares into an NFL team? Why not? Now they didn't know the right answer for that, obviously, and you can't do that. But how many people before that was asked and brought up knew that a player couldn't do that? I would bet that 90% of the analysts who were saying, "Oh, you can't have ownership shares as a player," but 90% of the analysts would say they didn't know that if they answered honestly. I didn't. Do I really give a fuck? Because I didn't think that question's ever going to be asked. Is that going to matter in my scouting reports that I don't know whether or not that happened? I mean, I think that's the case with a lot of what people are doing. So why are we making a big deal out of it?
All comes back to the polarizing figure that is Caleb Williams. That's what it is. At the end of the day, I don't want to keep you. We kept you over the promised time allotted, but get together with you, it's like family at dinner. We're gonna leave at 10 o'clock, honey. We're 12:30. Having espresso.
And a couple more beers.
Yeah, just two more.
Who's driving at the checkpoint? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, we got an interview with Sierra at 10:25, so we gotta wrap the shit up.
We went by the grocery store and bought about 500 rolls of toilet paper, and we got directions to Kyle's place.
Yes.
Oh, that would be amazing. Sign me up.
We get a chance to see angry runs, maybe.
Yes. All there for the cleanup.
I'll bring my dog. He would definitely like to stuff. He'd like to stuff the running back, so we can see where that goes. All right. Thank you, fellas. Yep.
Thank you for coming on and
you're the best.
Joining us and kind of unraveling some of the political stances of this.
Matt, one question before you leave. Who
Angel Reese
are you most
no?
Oh God, there's no comparison there. Anyways, who are you most excited about diving into for 2024?
Oh, 2026, you mean?
Or 2026. Yeah, my bad.
Whew. You know, I don't know yet. I've been doing projections for a couple of days and then just kind of taking time off until about June. So there's nobody that really is like unbelievably. If I was gonna say, like, I'm kind of interested in this kid Dean Connors from Rice. He's a running back, who can catch really well. He's now at Houston, just as an under the radar guy. Nick Singleton, the Penn State running back. I enjoyed watching him.
We were hoping both of them would come out in this past draft.
Yeah, you don't want me as president. Trust me. I mean, trust me on that one. Well, we don't want. Yeah. Anyway, some of us, let's just put it this way. I'm good where I'm doing. I'm good with what I'm doing, and it'd be a big mistake. But unless we could make it real wrestling and not pretend it's fake wrestling, But anyway,
thank you, Matt.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
you coming on. The great Matt Waldman. Go check out his rookie scouting portfolio. A thorough analysis of skilled players in the draft.
I'm amazed every single time. Like if I come across a name, even for another team and want to check out some stuff, it is amazing how detailed, and it just keeps on going.
Yeah, when you have that and the Bears pick up a guy, usually Matt has a little write-up, which isn't very little.
No.
It's an understatement.
It's a write-up like this.
I love all.
Oh, should we make our announcement for next week, Phil? Just so everybody knows.
We got a big update for next week.
We do, and it's major breaking news. Keeping it 100 next Wednesday. Buckle up, Cherie. We'll be taking the night off.
The first night off.
Yes. We're all going to Cherie's house. She's cooking us dinner. It's gonna be fun. She doesn't know it yet, but we're breaking news to her live right now. We'll all be there.
Yes.
Angelo is going to review the food. We're kidding.
We're got to get Chris Harold's a place to stay, Cherie.
Yes.
DC area.
Cherie has a basement and a pillow. Set Chris up.
Got to help him out. You know, any friends, availability, any of that.
I love Cherie's mom.
Where is Cherie's mom? She wasn't in the
here
chat tonight.
early. She was here early.
Was she?
Deborah.
I didn't see her.
Miss Deb. No, seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, we will be taking a week off from Keeping It 100 next week. Maybe we'll just turn the show over to Guy Finley for the week and let him run rampant. Keeping It 100 with Guy Finley.
What would that show be like?
It would be probably a lot of talk about the Vegas Raiders and their head coach. That would be my guess.
What would Pete do, Shane?
He'd try to pull off a trade for a running back in Kansas City that was drafted late, would be my guess.
Too much overthinking.
Or we could turn it over and have Cherie do it. Cherie could do an entire show by herself.
Carrie doesn't sugarcoat shit.
No, he doesn't.
It would suck.
It would
Carrie,
suck.
I texted you, Carrie, during the show.
Is Carrie talking about that? If that was the Cherie show or the Guy Finley show?
No, the Guy
Finley.
Finley.
I know.
Guy Finley, not Cherie.
Cherie.
Carrie loves me.
Cherie's out there mingling with superstars.
Sierra.
You
Who
didn't hear
else?
about Cherie?
No, what?
Oh, I did. I forgot I sent you the picture, Shane.
Yeah.
That Southern accent's coming out.
Shine.
I forgot I sent you the picture, Shane.
Shine.
I'm a city
Where did this at?
That's the US
That's like a
UTSA or what was your college again?
UTSA.
Yeah, UTSA. That's what I thought. That's that coming out a little bit. Her.
She's been all over this place.
Exactly. That's a
Chicago,
little bit of
Maryland.
Alabama. That's a little bit of
Where
New
else have you lived,
Orleans,
Sheree?
Louisiana, North Carolina, Texas.
Sheree, can you
Holy
send me?
shit.
Can you leave me a voicemail
Shine.
just saying my name like that so I can?
No, because I don't know where that will end up.
I was at Myrtle Beach. I know Sean Stewart's down there vacationing.
I
And
like Myrtle Beach. When I lived in North Carolina, we used to go there for bike week.
she gets so mad at me because I can't help myself. I start talking like everyone there. And she's, stop.
I'm not smart.
I'm like, they don't know. But there's this one day we went out to the beach and there was this family and this mom's yelling at her kids. And it was the most country shit I've ever. She was speaking like another language. I'm like, Missy and Shane, get your ass over. She's just going and going.
I think we just went off the rails.
That's what we do. Me and Sheree had some great moments last week.
Non-football. The show
Oh
was
my
not about
God.
football.
People
That wasn't last week. That was
That
2
was the week
weeks
before
ago.
last.
2 weeks ago. There you
Yes, I was.
I finished the
Clip it right there. That's all he needs to say. Clip it.
The show on HBO Max. Shane.
I got it up.
Actually, you got to watch the Chasing Bin Laden doc on Netflix. My son and I
Really?
watched that. Yeah, poured rain here all day Sunday, so
It's gonna
check
be
that out.
a nor'easter here tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. I just sat in the window and stared outside and said, "Pour shine,
Pour rain
shine."
for Shane. Pour rain for Shane.
No, but you should check that out. It is a great doc.
I'm
Chasing Bin Laden on Netflix.
How does that work? Like, I gotta really be needing something to watch to start a documentary. I always like try to prefer.
There's
like,
3
sports
parts. It's about
There's
3
3?
hours long. But yeah, it takes you. There's a lot of things that I found out that I wasn't even aware of. But yeah, they take you right inside everything.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna watch the Brett Favre since
I
documentary.
clicked that on there. I have not watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet either. What was the? Why am I drawing a blank with this show about the hotel? That was great. With on
White
HBO,
Lotus?
White Lotus. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
finished that. Yeah.
You finished
That
it?
was so
Yeah.
fucking dumb, bro.
The last season.
Now
was-
I knew your joke.
Oh yeah, the
Courtney
brothers.
Cronin, the brothers.
Bro, what?
I'm like, what the
right?
fuck is
That
this?
is-
That came out
that
of
was
fucking nothing.
crazy.
Like, is
That kid.
he playing PlayStation? Nope, that's not a joystick. Nope. But weren't you bummed with how it ended with like who went down? at the
Yeah.
end?
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything. I
Yeah,
was.
the chick with the surfboard teeth.
Oh,
Spoiler
my
alert, but that was sad.
Isn't there some drama behind that? Like the dude's wife is upset with her or something? I haven't read the article. I hate those articles. You click on them and then there's 5,000 ads and you can't even read it. It's like, wait, what? But Chris Zorich is like, Phil, you gotta watch Andor. I don't know if you are Star Wars people, but I am. I watched the first Andor, but Andor 2, he says, is just outstanding. And Chris, all caps. So
you watched Gemstones, right?
yeah, I haven't started this last season yet, though.
But you realize that it's the same dude, Baby Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goggins.
He's so fucking good, man.
Goggins.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't he? No, this is a total different actor. I always
Oh God! So you haven't seen this last season of Righteous Gemstones?
no.
Oh god damn, bro. You fucking wait till you see what the kids walk in on.
Oh,
They're
no.
fucking sure. You know what scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What they will. I almost pissed my pants. That was,
Oh my
the sisters, so fucking
gosh.
funny.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. That's great.
I gotta check that out. I gotta, what's it called? What am I watching? I finished what Courtney was talking, Dope Thief. That was good. That was very good.
I just listened to Courtney's pod that she did with Kevin Fishbane, how they he came out with that new podcast that he's doing where he starts telling their like origin story, like how they started out and how they got to where they are. He did it with Courtney. They recorded it back in March, but it was just released today or yesterday maybe, and I listened to that. Yeah, very interesting how she came from. So do you remember the documentary of the high school? Oh shit, you used to watch it. Fuck, what was it called?
Oh,
The school that wasn't.
No,
the one
shit.
in Mississippi.
Yes. Fuck was it called? Well, it's anyways in season 4, I believe it was the first episode.
The footballs.
Yeah, the coach is on the phone reaming out a member of the media, and it says on the phone with Courtney. That's all it says. That's Courtney Cronin, who he's screaming at.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was covering that small school?
Yeah, and she had made some comments. She had, because the coach had gotten suspended for a game.
Yeah, remember
throwing a punch.
He threw a punch, exactly.
And she had an alternate angle, so it made it look even worse. And she wanted to get his comment on it, and he never called back. So she just ran with the story. Well, then he called her the next day and ripped her apart. And what the fuck was the name of that show? It's gonna drive me nuts. Last Chance U. Yeah, Last Chance U. So it's like season 4, episode 1 or episode 2, but it shows when he's on the phone, he's reaming out somebody, and if you look, she said at the bottom, it says on the phone with Courtney. It's Courtney Cronin.
Jeez. Remember there was some real crazy backstory about the teacher, the guidance woman. You have to look into that. It's crazy. I guess some crazy story came of that woman. Remember the one helping all the kids with their school?
Yeah.
You know,
so
these guys are throwing spoilers out there, Cherie. I haven't even
That's what I had
watched
to tell them. I haven't even got to The Last of Us.
I haven't even started that shit.
Me either.
Or a lot of people are complaining that the casting of that girl, right? They don't like.
I like her.
I don't like her. I don't think she even looks like the character in the video game. Like you couldn't.
I don't know nothing about the video game, so.
Oh my god!
Let's
I love that video game
real quick because we're gonna get out of here early tonight.
Yep.
We're gonna rip through some of these.
We gotta address the stadium thing.
Yeah, we
fully
can.
addressed.
They love juice. $5. Warren was too busy paying stadium Legos to notice polls and flus last year. You know, it's.
I think
I'm not sure
Kevin wanted Eberflus gone.
Well, we were
very told that.
Yeah.
I thought Kevin would hold polls accountable and get rid of him as well.
Gerbon $5. Polls may have been hesitant to bring in another draft quarterback for fear Eberflus, Warren, or McCaskey fall in love with another quarterback. Then it's a battle. I don't know. I think he was given some assurances, but I wouldn't put it past the Bears saying, we don't want to, ruffle any feathers or, anything like that. And I think it's a mistake. And I'm not saying that I'm down on Caleb at all. I'm not. Clearly he was my QB1, but it's not preventing me from doing my due diligence. And quite honestly, if Caleb and his camp get offended by that, then that lets me know that that's a weakness by them, because they did their
100%.
they did theirs the same way.
I mean, the reality with that, if you know you the guy, you shouldn't be threatened by them interviewing any other quarterback.
Exactly.
anyway.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. I ain't going anywhere because I'm your best option. You'll find that out after you're done talking to these guys. And Dalton Spain, $1.99 says it right here. The Bears are scared of everything but losing, and he hit it on the head, man.
Is the post of the night, kid.
Yes, this was for our guy Waldman. That beard is dope.
Matt, come back.
Bill, can you read his name for me?
Samuel Asafalujo.
There you go. I'm proud of you. $1.99.
Did it great.
Travis Browning, number 27, $4.99. Might you all outlaw passing out of the tush push formation so defenses can just focus on stopping it? P.S. Your first reminder of the stadium question. DDP? Yeah, I know. I mean, you go down that fucking rabbit hole of outlawing, restricting that you can't pass out of the tush push formation. No, that's how I think you'll see
deception.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you'll see more of that with Philly this year, where they're lined up and you'll see him passing out of it more. That's just good coaching.
I agree. I said his name right. Look at that.
Yeah, baby.
So see, I could do it. But to his point, reminding me, addressing, listen, we've always saw the reality of what it needs to be done, and that's going to Arlington Heights.
Yeah.
You don't buy this land and set yourself up to own something that could be the biggest cash cow in maybe all of football. That's how big this could be, because Bears fans, as you know, are loyal to a fault, and herd up like this, you build a Bears utopia, and all of a sudden it becomes the place to be. Better highways in and out, better tailgating, overall better seating. I don't agree with the amount of seats. I think it should be up in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But that's
I wish they would do the open roof to let
the retractable.
But I was literally with Jim Larison on the fucking bus with George and Ted. And Ted, I go, I would be against the dome. But if you're going to do a dome, I say out loud, Jim, you should have it retractable. You would have thought I fucking smacked Ted Phillips' mom. He snaps his head around for the first time and goes, "It's too expensive. We've done the research."
he's talked about it, and I understand the bang for the buck. I mean, how many times are you really?
Dude, you're a $1 billion business.
No, I get it, Phil. I get it, but I have no issue with what the Bears want to do, building a domed fucking stadium, because you're gonna get a fucking Super Bowl. You're gonna get the Final Four. You're gonna have all these fucking concerts that are gonna be coming in. You're gonna get everything. It's gonna be just, when you said that the Bears don't have, money, just on hand, that's gonna fucking change.
Oh my God, 100%.
They're gonna be making. Oh my God. Imagine, Phil, we've all been to Soldier Field. I get. Listen, it's
really cool that you can walk through the park and you're down,
it's cool, but
it's like 18.
Again,
it feels like 18 blocks.
How fucking great would it be just to fucking sit there and have all of your fucking friends, and the fucking stadium is right there. You're doing your fucking thing, and then
Giant Stadium is really cool. I don't know if you've been.
Yeah, but it's all fucking concrete also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pavement.
But to that point, though, Cherie has tailgated there with me. So it was like we're all there together. And it's literally
there.
5-second walk to the.
Yeah.
We get out of Chicago to go back to the fucking tailgate. Everybody's legs are dying. Steph's like, Get the fucking bike guy over here.
Yeah.
T and Deb were carrying.
Oh my God, we were at the tailgate this year. And we're sitting there and listen. I was in. Well, Cherie was there with me the night before. I was in pretty good shape. You know,
You were?
pretty high, yeah.
You
but
were.
then I got like fucking 45 minutes of sleep before Braggs showed up at my fucking hotel to drag me to the fucking tailgate at 4 a.m. But oh my God, we were sitting there and I was talking to Sandlin. And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be walking over to the stadium here in a little bit. And Sandlin's like, yeah, we'll walk with you. And next thing I know, me and Cars and Riley and we're walking to the fucking stadium. Then there goes fucking Sandlin on the fucking cart being pulled. And I'm like, you motherfucker. There goes the Sandlins.
Yeah, I'm fucking not walking shit. That was Steph too. I'm like, I was exhausted.
Oh my God, dude.
That's a long ass, especially with us. We're staying up late.
Oh shit, dude. I got no fucking sleep. I was brushing my teeth and my eyes were still crossed. And Greg's like, are you awake? When he called me, that was the voicemail. And I'm like, yeah, we'll be down there. And he's like, all right. And my son tapped out. He went back and curled up in the fucking car for like 3 hours.
I was in the haunted fucking hotel.
Yeah, I remember you calling me
on a fucking
Bro,
barrel of hay. I'm going, what is this bed? It felt like you jump on it was hay. Like, what the fuck? Then I'm hearing shit all. I could not sleep. I didn't sleep one fucking bit.
But
what's the name of that hotel, Cherie? Right there. The Sandlin stayed there, so I was like, "Yeah, we'll stay there."
The Congress.
Yes, the Congress, and it was like the fuck. I'm on the haunted floor.
Can't even remember where the fuck where
you
did I
stayed
stay?
at the Hilton. Stayed at the Hilton.
Is that
downtown on Michigan Ave?
I don't think it was the Hilton, though, was it? Cherie?
I don't think it was.
I was right around the corner from you.
Yeah.
Right where the players stay.
Wasn't the Hilton.
We were in the same
You went to Marriott?
No. I can't fucking remember.
You were right there across from the fucking fountain, right? Or looking right at the field.
Yeah.
You could see the Soldier Fields from your hotel.
Well, yeah, just the corner of it. I can't remember. Cars dropped me off there, but fuck was that, Cherie? You were right around the corner.
Yeah, no, I was at my cousin's house though.
Yeah.
Shine.
I
was at my cousin's.
I'm trying to see. You did tell me where you were staying.
I can look it up.
It was a Hilton.
It was Chicago Hilton. Is that what it was?
Right there in Michigan. Yeah.
That's where the players.
I was in the fucking Hilton for 35 seconds, and they're in my room for 35 seconds, and my fucking phone rings. Mr. Marsa, I said, yeah. She's like, you have two visitors, Mr. Jose and a Mr. Hans are down. I'm like, been here for fucking 35 seconds.
His name is Heinous.
And did you say you had
Hannes.
to change rooms or something?
Oh yeah, they gave me the wrong fucking room.
Jose Torres had a bag of weed.
Oh.
Dang, I'm here.
Oh my god,
Cheech and Chong.
He drove us home.
He's smoking a blunt, driving home.
We drank all fucking day Saturday.
No,
all fucking day.
This guy FaceTimes us, and it's like, even Steph's like, Shane is fucked up. We can't hear shit. We're just reading lips and waving to everyone. All we can hear is Shane talking. You guys couldn't hear us.
Yeah, it was funny.
You know this motherfucker right here. He's
Trey busy.
Trey busy in the motherfucking app. You know this fucker right here.
He wasn't supposed to show up. He had like his aunt's birthday or something like that. And then I turned around and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Yeah, that was a good time. Remember turning around and seeing Cherie waltzing into the place. She's like,
I'm surprised you even remember that. You were already.
Oh, we started. I blame Carrie Franklin. Carrie Franklin took us out. We started at noon. Ivan was drunk when he got to the place where we started drinking. He took a fucking city scooter.
Who did?
Ivan did.
Ivan took a.
So I said, when
someone
we
needed to
leave,
film that.
I'm like, where did you park? He's like, bro, I brought a fucking city scooter. He goes, I fucked up before I even got here.
I would love a video of Ivan on the scooter, and you put the witch music from the Wizard of
Gary
Oz.
Franklin was so great. We went into his place where they have his favorite pizza, and he walks up.
Tavern style. That's hyped up. I don't know about this.
We walked in. He goes right up to the fucking guy, and he goes, "Listen, you got these guys here. He's from New York, but they're all about this New Haven pizza, and I gotta show them. So you need to do a good job." He says, "It's so great.
You better make that pizza good, son."
I looked at him. Then we just all started laughing because it was so fucking great though. No, we had such a good time. Yeah, it was me, and we started off with me and Carrie. Of course, my son was there. Ivan, Alex H was there, and then Carrie's friend Christian, who actually lives not too far from you now. He moved to Connecticut.
He moved? He's here?
Yeah, he's in Connecticut now.
You gotta see this guy.
Great dude.
Duval.
Carrie, put in the comments where Christian moved to. I forget where it was. It's not too far from you. It's like,
I think Farmington. Is it
might be.
Farmington?
It could be. It's like 30 minutes from you.
We got a new puppy, Shane.
Yeah, like the 5th and 6th time you've told me, but I'm super excited for you. That's awesome.
I'm introducing it here to the show.
No, I know.
And Cherie. And her name is Sophie.
15 minutes from you, Phil.
I gotta get together with this guy.
Great dude, Christian. Big Patriots fan.
I know, like my dad. They could watch a game together.
I tell you, Philip, that Christian, he could be a middle linebacker.
I'll tell you what, he could throw down some pasta, Bazul. Coach O was putting on his old high school jersey. This Cherie.
Yeah, I saw that. Number 6.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, I put it on Patreon. I forgot. Shane could, if he could load it
Oh,
up.
I'm on there. I just don't always.
Coach O put on his old high school uniform. He's like, my sister sending me, Dad wants you to show the fans. He still fits into his high school jersey.
Yeah, Farmington he went.
Yeah, that's where we picked up the puppy.
Bullets is gonna make the next trip.
Bullets, you and Greg Braggs in a boxing bout.
Listen,
Braggs
we
big-timed him.
Cherie and Greg buried the hatchet that night.
Fuck you, Bullets.
Right, Cherie?
Yes.
Greg and Cherie made up.
We
FaceTimed
FaceTimed Ryan Cox that night too.
Did
you? FaceTime a lot of people that night, Shane. I don't know if you...
Greg got on the phone with Ryan Cox. He's like, "Yeah, Shane's trying to fuck my mom." I never knew that till Ryan just told me the other night. That was great. Barb was there though. She hung with us the whole time.
Barb, Shane grabbed Greg's mom's ass.
I did. Yeah, when we were leaving, and she whispered to me, "She's like, we can make this happen, but we can't tell Greg." I love Barb.
Did you ask her about getting her to make initial pancakes for you?
Oh, she sends me cookies all the time. She knows where her bread is buttered. Barb does.
Oh gosh.
So when will the announcement be that we've broken ground on the field? Will that be this summer?
They said the Bears could be playing. The rumor I heard was the Bears could be playing there by 2028, which I don't think is probably likely.
That's
3 years.
That should be realistic, no?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's see. Hey, Shane and Phil, have you seen the new Caleb Rome downtown card?
I have not.
I have not seen it. I'm waiting for somebody to send me a nice Caleb card. Bullets usually comes through. Instead, he sent me fucking Quiddy Pay. I thought it would be a nice Caleb card. I got a Quiddy Pay card here.
I'm looking at the downtown card here right now, and it is $2,000 on eBay.
2,000?
2,000.
What's a downtown card? What
it's
is
just it shows Caleb rolling out, Rome catching a ball, and it shows the Chicago skyline in the background.
It must
So like
be
downtown
thick.
Chicago.
Is that the throw against the Seahawks?
No,
They
you
threw a
can't tell.
flag on? Oh.
Actually, believe it or not, I'm 100% positive the picture of Caleb in that
Is
card
from another play
is from the Buffalo Bills game that I was at, because I'm 100% positive it is.
Wow, $2,000.
$2,000. Yeah, I can bring it
Mike
up here.
B says 24 to 36 months to build an NFL stadium.
Yep, it's from.
I agree. Took the Vikings 3 years to build theirs, right? Buffalo's building a fucking new stadium.
Yeah, they had it.
How far are they done?
Oh, they're pretty good, man. There wasn't too much up when I was there, but they've made a lot of progress since last August.
So there you go. We need to get going on this. Oh, it's like a cartoonish thing.
Yeah.
And this is going for $2,000?
They're asking for it.
Where does this optic?
on
Is that a
eBay.
new Donruss? Are they still around?
Donruss. Yeah.
Who makes that card?
Donruss.
Oh, I guess Donruss.
Crazy fucking idiot.
I didn't read it. I couldn't see it.
Who makes those Donruss cards? Donruss.
I just remember Donruss. Is it really Don Ross?
Donruss.
Don Russ. Is that his first and last name? Is that the business?
See, now you got me going down this fucking rabbit hole of
Top
Caleb at Buffalo, and I'm trying to find that
How
fucking
would that
post.
be?
Huh?
How would you know like what that is? That's
Dude,
bugging
you
me
just
out.
are you
cartoon.
meeting me? Are you meeting me for the first fucking? All right, I'm gonna bring this up and prove a point to you. This is my genius.
This is bugging me out, Sherry.
You
Maybe
tell
not
me.
everybody will
You
get,
s-
but to look
still,
at that, I can't.
Yeah.
That could be any fucking game.
So you remember? Do you have the image of the card in your head? Tell me I'm
Pretty
wrong.
much.
This is from the Bills game.
Okay. Can you go shuffle back to the card? 'Cause
Yeah.
that'll be- I'm seeing it. I'm looking at his off-ball throwing hand, and he's got serious 4-finger grip pushed into that bottom
I
of
think
that
the picture from the game is a little bit earlier in the play, but I'm telling you, it's
because that's a pretty epic. Well, we got to get that off. I
It
don't
don't
know.
look the same.
His foot's off the ground. See him?
It don't look the same.
but it's the fucking wristband. I'm telling you, it's from the same game.
There's a
It's the
wristband
fucking-
there. Yep.
The fucking
How many
wristband.
times did he wear that wristband?
But if you look at that, it's the different well, I guess, like you say, it's earlier. I don't know.
It's just a little bit
Wait,
earlier in
let
the
me
play.
go back to the thing again. Yeah, he's got the arm.
Telling you.
Go to the opposite arm. Is it? Oh, it's hidden by the ball because he's got a long sleeve on his right throwing arm.
What's the chat? The chat's
Short
got to
sleeve.
be. It's the same. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nope, not the same. He says
It is. It's from the same fucking game. I'm telling you. It's just.
But are we really basing that off of the fact that he is wearing an armband? How many games did he wear that armband in with that jersey?
I'm telling you, that's
gonna
from.
be the- that's gonna be
It's
the
from
deciding
that
factor.
fucking play. I'm right. I'm telling you.
Wikipedia 1954 to 1988. Dunn Rust Douglas, Thomas Donald, and Russell Weiner founded the original. Oh, they combined all their names together, and they came up with Dunruss.
Donruss.
Dunruss. I've always called it Dunruss as a kid.
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to say. Milkshake's got it right. Different frame from the same play.
I could see because I
It
wish
is.
you could see the opposite arm. That would be the solid.
Yeah, I don't know if I can zoom.
Sleeve.
Yeah, it's hidden behind the.
Yeah, it's hidden behind the gripping of the ball.
But
wait, they're standing on a deep dish pizza.
Yeah. But even look at the
Take
fucking
that, Gary Franklin and Ron G.
Look at the straps on his helmet. See the top strap and the bottom one? He just turned a little bit more compared to.
Yeah.
Sheree, I'm right.
Sheree's against you for the first time.
I just to try to base it off of a uniform. Like players wear the same stuff.
Phil
bands
knows
and
that I've done this before.
It's fucking crazy that he can even see this. I would be like, that's a cartoon, random. Go back
I'm
to
not
the
judging it on a hidden arm. The fucking armband is right there. You can see it.
The armband is right there on his left arm. It's a wristband that he has pushed up.
Phil was talking about his arm sleeve.
On the opposite side is long. It's hidden by the ball in the card.
Right. Because
this
it's a different frame
short
of the same play.
Yeah.
This rollout was he hit Roma Dunze on the sideline on a fucking third down on like a frozen fucking rope. It was right in front of me. This play.
John Russ. Deep dish.
Yep.
Where's the Sears Tower, Cherie, in that pic?
Go back to it.
There's no Sears Tower, is there? Is that it behind his helmet?
No, I think that's the John Hancock building behind him.
Well,
kind of lame that they're standing on a deep dish pizza. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's for $2,000. Let's not forget that. That's what this card is going for.
See,
I think Fellified is pretty smart, and I think he's right. So shout out to you, Fellified.
Yep, I'm right.
And that's not a real like.
Is that water?
It's not a. It's
Yeah,
not. It doesn't look like the real Chicago skyline because it's some buildings that's in the skyline that are very recognizable that I'm not seeing in the picture. It's a generic city skyline.
And on top of the deep dish, I'm not paying $2,000 for that.
Well, damn, somebody.
If it was tavern style, Carrie, maybe. Maybe I would buy.
Bullets is putting in a bid on that right now.
He did. His electric boogaloo money.
Who's hitting buttons on the microwave?
Okay.
Oh shit. It's time.
Marie doesn't get away with anything. What's in the microwave, Cherie?
Dinner.
Well, what is for dinner?
A grilled chicken sandwich.
Is it made on the premises or?
No. It's store bought.
Store bought.
Restaurant bought, I'll say.
Dude's just sliding the chairs across the floor. He gives zero fucks that Cherie's online right now. We love him.
We'll have to see if Sean Hall's correct that it's the exact same combination with the Titans.
All right, I'll look it up.
Thomas Jones is hungry, says Jatazi. Cherie got that remote control microwave.
Nope. Sorry, he was wrong. He did not wear that exact uniform combo.
Sean Hall, you've been served. That's it. Done.
He had the QB armband on.
Oh, see? Shane doesn't miss on these things. I'm gonna put my money on Shane. Shane. See, watch Friends and Family on Apple
I've been
Plus.
working all day. You goddamn right, you're gonna make me a grilled chicken sandwich. Warm that bitch up. I love it.
Or white jersey. Anyway.
Anywho.
We'll be back we're taking a week off.
We're gonna take a week off, and maybe
But if
when
you're
we
a
get
patron,
back,
we will be live.
Yeah, we
this
will be
weekend with Kyle Monin guy.
But when we get back, we might have some pretty big news to announce.
Yes.
That Cherie doesn't even know about.
I find out stuff right here when everybody else finds out.
Yeah.
Let's show comments on stage. What is that?
That's what we were talking about.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
Because I
Live
clicked
comments
it
from
too. I don't
viewers will
know.
appear on screen during your stream. How did this change StreamYard?
Yeah, they've been pretty wonky lately.
They're like
don't
selling
forget,
you the same shit.
Don't forget to join Keeping It 100 next week.
Keeping it
Just
1,000
keeping it 1,000.
with
Keeping it
Angelo
1,000.
and Guy Finley.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the lot lizards lining up for that show?
A lot? What is a lot lizard?
I'll Google it after we're off air.
You are the charm of this network. I hate you both.
Aww.
Oh, good.
Hate is a big word, one chain.
He's
If you can only afford one chain, usually those people do hate me, though, Cherie.
What
You
I
only
always
can
say?
get
Let me look up and see if that's his first comment. Oh, it
shit.
is too.
One chain, no bracelet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all good though. You can't afford two chains.
Where's two chains at? One chain.
What a dumb fucking name.
Oh my
One
God.
chain, no bracelets.
Well,
I
I'm
bet you
going to
his-
do everything in my power to make him love me.
I bet you his mom wears an ankle bracelet.
That's he
She's
just got
pretty
out of the
fucking useless.
bracelets.
Yeah.
The ankle bracelet.
Yeah. Come on, one chain. Come on, one chain. Where's his rebuttal?
One chain, two into the fall.
See? Right there. I'm a trucker. And if you want a lot lizard, you got to go to Burr Street in Gary, Indiana.
Oh,
There you go. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Well, listen. The Bears will be building. Oh, there you go. That's what they are.
This is the exact type of response I would expect from Guy Finley. Well, it's a prostitute that you'll find in a truck stop parking lot.
Another fun fact I don't realize I know.
Let me tell you about whores that work on concrete. Listen. Shit's so funny. One chain.
The Guy Finley one chain show.
Yeah. Oh my God. One chain would be one of the fucking guys that we invite on the show. He'd show up and not turn on his video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy.
Oh, is that a black helicopter going over top of my house right now? Better take off my one chain.
One chain. One chain.
Oh, it's
one
great.
chain mid as fuck.
Cherie, is your sandwich cold already?
He's side eyeing you.
So what? Oh, we did see the side eye. So where are we on the aggravation chain
level
on a scale of 1 to 14? Where are we at?
One chain. She's one chain deep. One chain.
You're not aggravating yet. So I'll put you at like a 4.
4? That's not bad. Shit, we might as well.
Not there
We
yet.
might as well. We might as well pile on then.
No,
Phil.
don't push it.
No, don't push your luck, sir. You heard.
I'm just a fan. I'm not a football evaluator.
Well, the sadness that we have with George McCaskey continues on. What will they do next? That'll be fun. They've aggregated what we learned today is some people covering the Bears are actually analyzing passing proficiency in 7-on-7 in May.
Nope.
We also learned that a book is being written about how a young boy becoming a man into the NFL was afraid of going to a franchise like the Chicago Bears.
Oh my fucking God.
We also found out what was it again? A truck stop? What?
Lot lizard?
A lot lizard. Found out what a lot lizard was. Found out how to watch tape. And we found out that one chain is better than no chains.
Yeah, I'm sorry, One Chain. I'm still gonna sleep like a baby tonight, even though One Chain hates us both.
Well,
best part about it is he's texting like, Swifty, you'll never believe what I just did, brother. Oh my fucking God, bro. You gonna suck my dick now? I can't wait. I'll take off both chains.
He only has
Tug out them both.
one chain.
Oh man, it's all good. What'd you say,
Did you
Jay?
say Muffin Maine?
Muffin Maine, Shane.
I want to say something before we get underway about the tape never lies. Okay, so I know that there's a billion podcasts and a lot of people talking about NFL and talking about the Bears. But let me just say that you really, if you are a viewer of Tape Never Lies, don't go anywhere else. Come right here. And the reason why is because Dr. Phil and the smartest man to ever live is going to tell you like it is. And so sometimes you'll go over here and I'll go over here and you'll hear this rhetoric over here, over there. Whittle it down. What I would say is ESPN Chicago, because I'll put myself over and I'll put ESPN 1000 over. But I think that we have to start whittling it down, man, because when you get these 10 or 15 sources, it muddles your mind on exactly what's truth and what's not. The Tape Never Lies network is about the truth.